Kofi Abrefa Busia, Prime Minister of the Progress Party government of the Second Republic, and one of the great Ghanaians, said in these eloquent words, and I quote, "We regard politics as an avenue of service to our fellow men. We hold that political power is to be exercised to make life nobler and happier."
We think the yardstick by which our success or failure should be judged must be the condition of the human being himself.
Our success or failure should be judged by the quality of the individual, by his knowledge, by his skills, by his behavior as a member of society, the standard of living he is able to enjoy,
and by the degree of cooperation, harmony, and brotherliness in our community life as a nation.
In our community life as a nation, unquote.
So many people don't realize the changes that Ghana has gone through and the significance of us being in a fourth republic. I think the key thing is each of the republics have been different. And the Second Republic was, in a sense, a very important historical moment. We just come out of the one-party state. And Akufo-Addo, who was really instrumental in the crafting of the constitution of the Second Republic, I think had uppermost in his mind protections against a return to any kind of autocratic rule.
Ghana is again trying to show that democracy can work in Africa.
Your election has been hailed as a new sort of triumph for democracy in Africa, the re-establishment of two-party system in Ghana. But there's a lot of skepticism about whether the two-party system is suited to Africa. Why do you believe that it will work in Ghana?
Because I don't share the skepticism. I believe that the fundamental values of democracy have universal validity. People in Ghana love freedom, just as people anywhere. They don't like to be arrested and imprisoned without trial. They don't like oppression and injustice.
Yes, but I agree with that. But somebody as distinguished as President Nyerere, for instance, of Tanzania, has said that the two-party system is a luxury that a developing country can't afford.
This is because of his view of the two-party system. Our view, and that which is enshrined in our Constitution, is that no person or group of persons are virtuous enough to be entrusted with power without checks. We accept this. We accept that we are fallible men. And even when we have the best intentions, we're likely to make mistakes. And the people must have alternatives to choose from. So our conviction in democracy is fundamental. And we must learn the tolerance and the discipline, you see, which makes us accept the fact that there are some things in which we may be wrong and that there are some people who may serve the country better.
But you've only been in office now for a few weeks. Aren't you going to find after several months, and when the problems seem perhaps even more burdensome than they are at the moment, that the idea of one-party government becomes more attractive?
It won't be. Although I've been in office for only a few weeks, I've been in opposition for 15 years. I've also taken the trouble to study the way things are going in Africa. And if you look at the one-party state, it doesn't achieve any of the things claimed for it. It doesn't achieve economic development. It doesn't achieve... You can't make men accept, all of them accept the same thing all the time. So the claims that have been made for the one-party system have in fact not been justified. At any rate, speaking of West Africa, for example, it hasn't given this idea of unity. It hasn't provided for freedom. We are saddled with debt. It hasn't allowed the growth of the economy. So all it means to me is we are in power. We must remain in power.
The Constitution Akufo-Addo wrote the Prime Minister selected the President, a choice which was then endorsed by Parliament. And the President was a ceremonial role, not an executive role. And I think that's a big difference between the Constitution we have now and the Constitution we had then.
Can I just ask you one last question? People tend to talk about your government as being a new opportunity for Ghana, and they rather write off Nkrumah's rule. Do you think, looking back on Nkrumah's time now, that there were things and valuable things that he did for Ghana? He seems still to be very much a hero among black power groups in the United States, for instance.
Yes, he is a hero among black power groups in the United States. This is partly psychological. Ghana was the first to gain independence. It was the first to show what the African people were capable of, and therefore psychologically it gave the American Negroes in Africa an outlet, because they had been made to believe that the African was just a backward cannibal, sword drawing and so on, and now they could see for themselves that this picture wasn't true. So there was this emotional attachment. Of course, we know too that Nkrumah, one of the reasons why we have a debt is that he was prepared to give our money away to all sorts of people to do things for him.
But you don't think there are lessons in terms of uniting Ghana that you can learn from Nkrumah?
Well, there are lessons in terms of uniting Ghana. As I said, you unite a people on the basis of shared interests and common objectives, which you inspire all of them to work together to achieve.
Prime Minister, thank you.
Thank you.
When Nkrumah first came into power, Ghana's independence, we had a Prime Minister,
yes,
as in voted into power by
yes,
the people. Then he made himself a one-party state,
yes,
and made himself a president, but
for
it's
life,
a one-party state,
yes,
for life, so nobody votes.
Yes.
Then after the coup, we went back to the people will vote.
Yes.
And then we had Prime Minister,
yes,
as the elected by the people,
yes,
leader of the land,
yes,
as in the political leader.
Yes.
At which time then we had the
ceremonial
president,
yes,
which
chosen
unfortunately
by the Prime Minister,
by the Prime Minister, which was Papa. And I think we can proudly say that since Papa was elected by the people as the Prime Minister of Ghana, the 105 constituencies, the
105
out of 140 has never been matched or beaten again. It remains
the largest
margin,
yeah,
and remains the
yeah,
largest margin to this day.
to this
so
day.
We're very proud celebrating this, his 40th anniversary.
A new dawn is with us. Parliament House again sees elected members after an absence of nearly 4 years.
We present to you Dr. Busia, by the grace of God, Prime Minister of the Second Republic of Ghana.